In the April 24th edition of the Melbourne Times newspaper, which prints local news for the city of Melbourne and the surrounding area, an article was printed in which the events of a city council meeting were told. During the meeting, there was obviously a lot of city matters discussed that ranged from the usage of tobacco products in the city parks to buying a new lawnmower for the city. But the most prevalent subject matter in my mind was that which was brought up by Vitalink CEO Karen Ryan. The subject was that the county ambulance service, which is provided by Vitalink, whose main office is located in Batesville, Arkansas. The issue in question was the usage of Ozark EMS, which is located in Calico Rock, Arkansas. The problem is that Ozark EMS is taking part of the non-emergency and routine transportation calls for service, and if Vitalink does not receive enough of these along with the emergency medical calls for service, from a business standpoint, it will not be able to afford to provide our emergency calls. And Vitalink CEO Karen Ryan is wanting for the city of Melbourne and the other cities within the county to pass city ordinances that say that Vitalink gets exclusive rights to all calls within city limits, with the opposing viewpoint being that Vitalink only has 2 ambulances available for use in the county. So what happens when both of them are on calls and an emergency arises? During the next few moments, I'll be speaking to you from many viewpoints because of my roles as a father, a husband, a family member, and a first responder for the Oxford Volunteer Fire Department, and attempt to present my point of view so as to gain support for the cause of both of these services operating cohesively within our county so that we may all be able to receive the best and quickest medical attention without hesitation. As a father and husband, my main concern is that when I need help or need the help of an emergency service, especially for either my wife or my children, that it's available and it arrives as quickly as possible so that they can receive the help that they need. The thought that if an ambulance would have or would not, the thought that if the ambulance had not been on a call already, that they would have been able to have been there 10 minutes sooner and my wife or my child might have survived is a thought that it weighs heavily on me. And this is where the first issue for me arises. What happens when both of our emergency response ambulances are already in use? Now, according to the Arkansas State Board of Health Office of Emergency Services and its rules and regulations for emergency medical services, an ambulance service which has jurisdiction over an area must provide 24-hour service. And Ms. Ryan stated to the council that when regular units are called out, Vitalink is required to dispatch another unit from another area to cover the unit's regular position until it returns, and that the service is required to have a unit stationed at 2 of Izard County's bases at all times. So in other words, if one of the ambulances Vitalink goes on a call, then the other ambulance has to cover the entire county until a relieving ambulance can take over at one of the 2 positions. And then if one of those ambulances has to go on a call, a unit from elsewhere has to come in and provide the service for the county. And so as you can see, with each call, the services, or the resources available to us become fewer and fewer. Also, Vitalink has a policy that if a patient is to be taken to a hospital, it will be the nearest available hospital, which can then decide whether or not the patient needs to be transferred to another hospital. This is one policy that I have had an issue with because of my sister-in-law, Crystal. Around a year ago, she began having severe back pain to the point that it was debilitating. And when she was originally having the problem and was taken to Calico Rock Hospital, they treated her as though she was just a drug addict and was only looking to get pain meds. and when in reality she actually had 3 ruptured discs and a nerve that was being pinched by the vertebrae in the small of her back. On the second occasion that she needed to go to the hospital to receive treatment, she was unable to get off the couch, and much less be able to actually sit upright in a car. So an ambulance was called for, and VitalLink responded. When they arrived, they were told that she had seen a specialist in Mountain Home and that was where she needed to go. To which they responded saying that this was an issue that could be dealt with at Calico's hospital, and that was where she was going to be taken. Finally, on the third time that this happened, which by the way was only about a week before she was to have an operation to attempt to repair the damage in her back, we contacted Ozark EMS and asked if they could take her to Mountain Home, to which they said, you know, it was not an issue, and she therefore went to where the doctor she needed to see was located and was actually given the care she needed. Now I realize that VitalLink has to think of getting this patient cared for so that they can be prepared for the next. But this is why we need a service like that provided by Ozark EMS, where the patient requested a hospital where they could be afforded the medical attention needed, and the request was granted without questions. The fact is that until now there have been no rival companies taking calls within the county, and VitalLink is attempting to shut down Ozark EMS for business gains instead of attempting to work with them so as to provide the best care available. I'm hopeful that if Ms. Ryan and Leon Cheatham, the owner of Ozark EMS, could come together and discuss the issues and search for a means to come to a practical agreement that would allow these two companies to work in a way that would provide exemplary emergency and non-emergency care, medical care for the county, as well as be profitable for both companies. In the end, VitalLink and Ozark EMS are companies who provide the same service, and I completely understand why Ms. Ryan is attempting to have the cities in the county to pass these ordinances, because business is survival of the fittest. And she apparently feels that so long as both of these businesses survive in the county, that neither one of them will be able to thrive. But this does not have to be so. Finally, most of my experience with ambulances comes from my role as a first responder and firefighter. While doing this, I've witnessed everything from car accidents where people in the accidents suffer injuries that range from minor cuts and scrapes all the way to major bleeding and broken bones. You know, medical emergencies that range from heart attacks to other sorts of life-threatening emergencies, and also been to both brush and structure fires where there were times that we needed the medical attention due to heat exhaustion and even at times dehydration. Having responded to and been involved in these types of calls, I have first-hand experience of the seriousness of these situations and have witnessed the way that individuals' loved ones react to loved ones in need of help, how it feels to be an individual in need of their help, and also how important immediate medical assistance can be in these emergency situations. So why don't we, as citizens of Izard County, speak out and tell these companies that there is no need in trying to or attempting to shut one another down, but to work together so that we can get the help we need when we need it and have a choice on who provides it.